back to another episode of the Behavioral Economics and Marketing Podcast series. This is Sandra Thomas-Comenole. This season is entitled Lessons from the Fire, in which I will explore behavioral economics concepts, marketing, professional, and personal development through the lens of having recently experienced a natural disaster. In this episode, I will be discussing Keynesian economics and natural disasters. So what is Keynesian economics? Developed in the 1930s by British economist John Maynard Keynes, Keynesian economics is the macroeconomic theory that focuses on the demand side of the aggregate spending in the economy and its effects on output, employment, and inflation. Keynesian economics theory considers that a recession or depression is caused by a lack in consumer spending and postulates that the government should do what the consumers are not, spend money. The increased spending would in turn increase need for workers that will be paid wages that will be spent, which will again increase the need for workers. In short, Keynesian economics theory proposes that a lack of demand is the cause of recessions, and governments can mitigate the effects of a recession through increased spending, which stimulates and restores economic growth. For example, Keynesian economics was written during a deep depression. Therefore, the Great Depression is the classical example of Keynesian economics at work. At the time, classical economics postulated that through a laissez-faire approach, the economy would reach equilibrium by itself. Keynes took a different approach. He believed that the Great Recession was the result of a lack of demand for goods, and argued that the government should undertake deficit spending in order to increase aggregate demand and stabilize the economy. In 1936, he published his ideas in his magnum opus, The General Theory of Employment, Interest, and Money, and leading Western economies began to adopt Keynes's policy recommendations. As the Depression wore on, Franklin Roosevelt instituted public works projects, farm subsidies, and other economic devices to restart the U.S. economy, but never completely gave up trying to balance the budget. According to the Keynesians, this improved the economy, but classical economists believed that Roosevelt never spent enough to bring the economy out of recession until the start of World War II. It is widely accepted that government spending through war is what brought the country world out of an economic depression. Mobilizing the economy from World War finally cured the depression. Millions of men and women joined the armed forces, and even larger numbers went to work in well-paying defense jobs. Since the Great Depression, governments around the world have adopted similar spending strategies to mitigate the effects of economic downturn. Okay, so how can we apply this to marketing? Keynesian economics in the face of natural disasters. There is big money in natural disasters. I will use the recent Marshall Fire disaster in Boulder, Colorado that I and my family were affected by as an example. The Marshall Fire destroyed 1,084 homes and damaged 149 others, worth an estimated $513 million, according to updated totals from Boulder County. Additionally, 7 commercial structures were destroyed and 30 others were damaged. In addition to homes that were damaged or destroyed by the fire, many more were damaged by the smoke. And at first glance, this may seem like a huge economic loss. However, it is the recovery that is the important side of this coin. To begin with, the housing market was tight in our area, especially the rental houses, now with over 1,000 homes destroyed, and over 1,000 families looking for short-term and long-term rentals while they rebuild their houses. The cost of rental housing skyrocketed, with houses renting for 2 and 3 times what they had even a month prior. And then there is the rebuilding of 1,000 homes, with most houses costing in the range of $500,000 to $1 million to rebuild. And don't forget about appliances, furniture, and other big-ticket items, not to mention soft goods such as linens and clothing. And think for a minute about replacing your kitchen, all of the pots and the pans, the smaller appliances, the glasses, dishes, utensils, and silverware. And don't forget about the fun stuff such as sporting equipment, camping gear, secondary, and recreational vehicles. Computers, cell phones, podcasting equipment, expensive watches, jewelry, perfume, handbags. Now multiply that by 1,000. Or even more when you consider all of the items damaged by smoke. A natural disaster stimulates demand across industries. That demand increases employment and can lead to a restored economic growth, not only in the area of the disaster, but potentially the entire region, state, or country. Wrapping it up. Understanding how we as humans make decisions is an important part of marketing. Behavioral economics is the study of decision making and can give keen insight into buyer behavior and help to shape your marketing mix. In this episode, we discuss Keynesian economics in relation to natural disasters. Keynesian economics is all about stimulating aggregate demand through government spending to increase economic growth. In the wake of a natural disaster, government spending and consumer spending is stimulated in a sizable, systematic, and calculable way. If you are enjoying this podcast, give me a shout out, like it, share it, follow it, and review it. Thank you for listening to another episode of Behavioral Economics and Marketing. This is Sandra Thomas-Comenole.